Welcome everybody to the California Department of Pesticide Regulations IPM Achievement Awards for 2020. I'm Val Dalcini and I'm the Director of the Department of Pesticide Regulation. It's great to see so many of you joining us for this virtual event this year. I would much rather be having it at the Cal EPA building in the Byron Share Room where we could all applaud one another and give each other high fives and hugs, but that will have to wait for another time. In the meantime, this year's award winners are being recognized for taking innovative steps to address pest problems in a manner that is both sustainable and less risky for the environment that we all live in. A few virtual housekeeping notes before we get started. We are hosting this ceremony today in the Zoom platform, but you, the audience, are watching through Cal EPA's webcast. As a result, there is no chat feature, so if you have questions about the IPM Achievement Awards or DPR's IPM programs in general, please email our staff in the IPM branch at achieve@cdpr.ca.gov. Once again, that's the word achieve@cdpr.ca.gov. Today's ceremony is also being recorded and will be made available through DPR's YouTube channel in the very near future. Modern technology has allowed us to continue our hard work here at DPR during these unprecedented times, and that includes recognizing today's award winners. This afternoon, we formally celebrate IPM at DPR and the effort that it takes to use this combination of strategies, practices, tools, and techniques to effectively manage pests. People may describe IPM a little bit differently from place to place, but at DPR, we believe that it involves using the least toxic, effective methods to tackle pests. It can be quite a simple strategy, or it can be very detailed. But one thing I'm sure that everyone can agree on, IPM is very effective. And the fact that we're highlighting these principles and showcasing today's award winners shows that DPR continues to reinforce the importance of IPM and the role that we play here at the department in the regulation of pest management tools for urban and rural communities alike, which will, over time, allow California to become significantly less reliant on chemical tools as the first line of defense against agricultural and household pests. Celebrations like today's Achievement Awards commit us to an ongoing dialogue about the future of responsible pest management in California, which will lead to safer and more sustainable ways of managing pests in every environment, from the backyard to the back 40. My friends, we're at an inflection point in the evolution of pest management in our great state, and continued use of IPM techniques will be fundamental to the transition to safer and more sustainable practices. I congratulate this year's award winners for helping lead this transition and for using innovative and sustainable pest management tools that are both effective and safer for our environment. We're pleased to have a number of guests join us today, but I would like first to introduce my good friend and the Secretary of Cal EPA, Mr. Jared Blumenfeld. Jared, it's all yours.
Hi, Val. Really appreciate everyone joining today, and I love these events. It's hard to believe that it's been 30 years, 1991. Over the years, this has been the venue where incredible IPM work has been lifted up, and I really want to welcome you, add my comments of thanks to Val, and really say that this is super critical. Like, IPM has gone through fads and phases. I think these awards have shown year in, year out that DPR cares about this, is going to invest in this, and is going to really make this a focus of its mission. So we are committed, all of us, to making a transition away from harmful pesticides towards safer, sustainable pest management. And really today's event is about you all helping us make that important transition together. So in order to do this work, it's an incredible combination and collaboration between science, communities, workers, growers, consumers, all of you, and this big kind of ecosystem drive innovative solutions and provide technical assistance that we can help with in order to increase adoption of IPM practices throughout the state. And as you know, Once they're done here, they're often emulated elsewhere. The governor's budget proposal includes strategic investments to support California's agricultural economy as it addresses continued challenges and rapid innovation, while also advancing the state's climate resilience and environmental justice goals. The budget includes a proposal to replace DPR's flat fee, which is the current mill fee, on pesticide sale with an increased risk-based tiered mill assessment where higher toxicity pesticides are assessed a higher fee. This is directly in line with the kind of thinking that the IPM program and these awards have celebrated for the last 30 years. In addition, it also generates revenue, of which $20 million will expand the IPM program, research, outreach, and help move the state towards a less toxic, safer, more integrated pest management system. And this investment will build on decades and history of integrated pest management practices across the state. We are lucky and privileged to have a thriving $50 billion agricultural economy in California, and we produce most and much of the nation's fruits and nuts and produce. But as we continue to grapple with climate change and other stresses and address the health and environmental burdens suffered disproportionately by communities across our state, sustainable pest management becomes an even more essential tool for food production and for protecting public health and the state's natural resources. So I want to add my thanks with Val and many others on congratulating the IPM Achievement Award winners today for their vision, ingenuity, passion, tenacity. You need a lot of tenacity in this business. Nothing happens too quickly or overnight. So just the stick-to-itness of each of you inspires me. And I hope this recognition helps further your cause and the cause of IPM. And I'll turn it back to Val, our Master of Ceremonies. Thank you, Val.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you so much. And Jared, you've been a wonderful partner for the work that we're doing at DPR on IPM and a whole host of issues, scientific, regulatory, political, and otherwise. So we really, truly appreciate your support. You know, just about a half an hour ago, NASA landed the Perseverance rover on Mars, some 272 plus million miles away. And it got me to thinking as I was watching the exaltation happen at the Joint Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena, and presumably at NASA's headquarters in Houston, that if we can accomplish incredible and really fantastical feats like that one, it makes our continued transition to safer pest management on this planet seem relatively easy in comparison, as daunting and as slow moving as it can seem at times. So congrats to the folks at NASA, and now congratulations to all of the IPM Achievement Award winners. This is the fun part of the program. It's one of the best parts of my job when I'm able to tip my hat and congratulate hardworking Californians who are really advancing the issues around integrated pest management in their communities. We have 5 award winners today, including the first Child Care Center winner and the first Lifetime Achievement winner, although I'm sure he won't be the last in that category. I'll give a brief introduction, and then we'll watch a short video about their work, and then we'll join the winners live so that they can say a few words themselves, and in some cases they have some special guests to help share in that moment with them. So the first award goes to the All Kids Academy Head Start Incorporated from San Diego County. All Kids Academy, otherwise known as All Kids Academy Head Start, is the first child care organization to receive an IPM Achievement Award. Their award is in recognition of their exemplary pest management program at the 14 child care centers that they run in San Diego. Head Start is a nonprofit organization, AKA Head Start, I should say, is a nonprofit organization which provides child care services throughout the San Diego area. And their IPM program focuses on strong communication, careful monitoring, and active prevention to manage pests at these various child care centers. AKA Head Start partners with experts and with parents to find the most effective, low-risk options to protect children in their care from pests and the risks associated with pesticides. AKA Head Start really sets the bar for IPM implementation and Healthy Schools Act compliance, at childcare programs in California. So let's watch their video.
All Kids Academy is a Head Start program that provides quality school readiness and comprehensive services to over 1,400 children and their families throughout the East County of San Diego, California.
All Kids Academy Head Start feels so honored, and we are so appreciative to the Department of Pesticide Regulation for all of their support. Our agency's strength lies in its team approach. It's not just one person, but it's everybody who's come together and is on board. We have our maintenance custodians who are on the preventative side. It's all about prevention. They're cleaning every day. They are making sure that everything is in good repair and maintained. And they are the ones that are our first responders. Our teachers, they implement an IPM theme into their lesson plans. You can take a children's book and extend it into all areas of the curriculum. Strategy has been another agency strength. We had to take an honest look at our plan and identify the areas that we were doing well in, but also identify the areas that needed improvement. And that was where we needed to focus our efforts. Barriers was the #1 thing that we needed to improve on. So for barriers, it had to be everything from door sweeps to drain screens, sealing up gaps and making sure that everything was sealed up. The third strength that our agency has been in the community connection. Our parents are the reason we have the Healthy Schools Act. Parents are informed of their rights and of the agency IPM plan, of the individual pesticide applications, and they are provided helpful IPM tips. Parents are given a voice in pesticide product selection and in IPM policy and procedure. As a nonprofit organization, we found that IPM was doable and sustainable if we implemented a program. We had to make sure that it was going to be effective and it was going to be cost effective. And we needed to strategize, we needed to take a team approach, we needed to come together as a community and work together. What we have done, other child care programs can do as well.
Congratulations. And joining us now to accept their award is Yolanda Perez and Debbie Sanchez with All Kids Academy Head Start. Ladies, welcome. And congratulations. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. All Kids Academy Head Start strives to provide high quality, safe, nurturing learning experiences to one of our most vulnerable populations, children under the age of 5. Thus, we embarked on seeking how to raise our standards of addressing pest control at our child care centers by aligning to the Healthy Schools Act. Thus was the planted thought which began the development of our agency's IPM plan under the lead of our Quality Assurance Program Specialist, Ms. Debbie Sanchez, who you just saw in the video. Our agency is proud and grateful for the recognition today of being the first child care program in the state of California to receive this acknowledgement. We are most humbled to the fact that our IPM efforts are positively impacting the safety of our staff and the over 1,062 children that we are funded to serve each year. The agency's cultural awareness is that parents and guardians are entrusting us with their children, and Debbie's heart and care for the children and families is deep, like the many staff who make this plan a success. So without further ado, I introduce Ms. Debbie Sanchez, the developer and creator of the IPM plan for All Kids Academy Head Start.
As our executive director, She has made key decisions that set the stage for our agency to excel beyond the state requirements. IPM is just another facet of health and safety. Implementing preventative measures, such as barriers, has reduced the internal use of pesticide applications at our child care centers by at least 94% over the past 5 years. Thank you to our Assistant Executive Director, Doreen Maltz, who assumed the title of IPM Coordinator. She oversees the IPM program, ensuring compliance. As simple as this looks, it hasn't always been easy, but this organization has creatively problem solved to not only conform to the Healthy Schools Act, but to exceed expectations. We want to acknowledge the vital role our parents play in IPM. Erring on the side of caution, they have held us to a very high standard. Thank you. With your direct involvement, everybody wins. We want to express our heartfelt gratitude to our former area IPM advisor, Dr. Cheryl Willen. She made the time to personally participate in our annual IPM committee meetings, providing clarifications, resources, and practical suggestions. Her advice was always solid, so very much appreciated. And finally, thank you to the DPR for honoring All Kids Academy Head Start with this state award. There is so much more to learn, so much more that could be done. We've just begun. And so we continue to move forward, partnering with you in this journey together. Thank you.
Debbie, thank you very much. Yolanda, thank you very, very much for your inspiring words and for your leadership. I'm absolutely certain that there will be additional child care centers that will be future recipients of the IPM Achievement Award from the department. And I think that the model that you've said is really going to be the gold standard. It's really something that's very, very impressive, and you are runaway winners from our perspective. If you're still on the line, I have just a quick question, and that is how you involve the children at the various 14 centers that AKA Head Start operates. Obviously, you've got talented staff and many parents who are involved in the process, and certainly your own teams, but how do the kids get involved here, and what are you trying to teach the kids about IPM?
Parents play a vital role to the success of Head Start, and so they do, and they are part of our partnership and actually lead a lot of our program administrative decisions, such as they have to approve our budget, our grant application, and make policy decisions. So they are part of our IPM plan. They meet with us annually, give us suggestions, and they have made an impact to our plan, making improvements. And Debbie, if you want to speak a little bit about some of the improvements that have come out of that.
Are directly involved in the curriculum that the children are participating in. And so with our program, we like to incorporate IPM. Kids are naturally drawn to critters, and that is following their interest. And so we can do it with a book, we can do it with music and movement, the gross motor skills with the outdoor activities. It can be the Very Hungry Caterpillar and puppets and artwork and all kinds of fun. They love it.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Debbie, Yolanda, congratulations on behalf of all of my colleagues from DPR and from my fellow colleagues throughout the state of California. You're doing great work.
Thank you.
All right, so our second award goes to the UC Spray Application Pest Management Alliance team. That's quite a mouthful. The Spray Application Pest Management Alliance team, I'll just call them the team, aims to minimize the incidence of agricultural pesticide drift, which is a really important thing to be doing. Drift is something that we're always working on here at DPR, and to further reduce the risk of pesticide illness through training. We funded these activities through a DPR Pest Management Alliance grant, and the team developed an air blast sprayer calibration training program to increase pesticide applicators' adoption of best practices when using air blast sprayers, which are commonly used throughout California. The in-person training program reached many people opting for safer spray practices. That's certainly something that we're always promoting. And the online version of this training is interactive and offers practical experience in key training topics that you'll hear a little bit about. This highly effective training and the extensive outreach completed by the team makes the Spray Application Pest Management Alliance team an excellent recipient of an IPM Achievement Award. So let's go to the video.
Integrated Pest Management, or IPM, uses monitoring and biological, cultural, and mechanical control to manage pests in a more sustainable manner. Pesticide sprays, when needed, are an important component in IPM programs, allowing farmers to produce a clean crop with a good yield. How those sprays are applied makes a big difference, especially in trees and vines that are hard to reach with sprays. Making a good spray application isn't as easy as it may sound. Air blast sprayers, those used in orchards and vineyards, are specialized pieces of equipment that can be difficult to calibrate and set up. My name is Lynn Wunderlich. I've worked as a farm advisor with the University of California Cooperative Extension in UC's Division of Agriculture and Natural Resources for over 20 years, focusing on IPM. In 2017, with grant funding support from the California Department of Pesticide Regulations Pest Management Alliance program, I formed a Spray Application Alliance team to develop, deliver, and evaluate a training on best practices for air blast sprayer applications. The team consisted of UC professionals, grower groups, and industry leaders. Our training audience was the spray professionals working in over 2 million acres of wine grapes and tree nuts grown in California. Our goal was to provide applicators with the skill and knowledge to make wise decisions surrounding spray applications, to improve spray coverage and minimize spray drift. In the springs of 2019 and 2020, we delivered our hands-on course to 195 participants at 5 vineyard and orchard locations in Northern California. 2 of the trainings included a Spanish session. But our project didn't end there. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic began, we planned to produce an online air blast sprayer calibration course in order to scale up to reach a wider audience. Developed over the 3-year project period and modeled after our field course, our online course is interactive, challenging, and engaging, and includes all of the key components for air blast sprayer calibration. During just 4 months, a total of 578 people completed the course, including 461 California licensed pest management professionals. Overwhelmingly, the participants said the training increased their knowledge and skill level for each pest management practice we asked about. 98% of respondents said they would recommend our training course to a fellow applicator, grower, or pest control advisor. Air blast sprayer training on practices to improve spray coverage and reduce drift benefits everybody. Proper spray application, targeting the crop while minimizing spray drift, protects the health of farm workers, surrounding farm communities, including nearby schools, the environment, and is critical for successful pest management.
That is absolutely wonderful. And joining us now to accept the award on behalf of the UC Spray Application Pest Management Alliance team is the star of that video, Lynn Wunderlich. Lynn, great to see you.
Hi, Director Dulcini,
Howdy.
IPM Award Committee members. Thank you for recognizing our project to provide training for air blast sprayer pesticide application as an IPM achievement. I'm very proud to represent my team here today, and I want to thank everyone who helped make our project a success. Sometimes I think of pesticides as sort of the elephant in the room, in the IPM room. There's very little training on sprayer calibration and practices to reduce pesticide drift, even though pesticides are a main component in just about of the IPM program in just about every major commodity I can think of. So what if I were to say to you that there was a practice that would conserve natural enemies and pollinators and protect birds and wildlife, that would minimize pesticide resistance occurring, the incidence of pesticide resistance in disease-causing organisms and pests, that would reduce pesticide runoff in California's groundwater and surface waters and improve our air quality, that would improve farm worker safety and the safety of the entire surrounding farm community, including the safety of kids attending schools adjacent to farms. And this practice wouldn't cost, but would save growers money. They wouldn't need to purchase anything. It wouldn't have to be something that went in the tank or necessarily required new technology or more labor to implement, because the practice is all about improving farm efficiency. Well, we have that practice and it's training. Training and proper spray application to improve spray coverage and reduce drift opens up space for other IPM practices to work. Because once growers see how they can reduce and cut waste, they do. And pesticides, ironically, are minimized. So applicators want and need this training. So I have a request, really a plea to DPR to continue to invest and collaborate with UC and other stakeholders, and to continue this type of air blast sprayer calibration training. And we've made a good dent. We have a good start. We've built a curriculum, but we need more trainers, and we need training, trainers in Spanish. We need training in Spanish. And when we can meet again safely, we need to have these trainings in person. Until then, our online course, for which we're very proud, is up at campus.extension.org. And I'd like to invite everyone to attend an upcoming webinar that I'm co-organizing called Air Blast 2021, Optimizing Canopy Sprayers. We're just getting registration up and ready. It's not quite ready yet, but it will be soon. It's going to be held March 29th and 30th, and I hope you all can join me. Thank you very much.
Lynn, thank you. I really appreciate hearing your perspective, and I'm glad that the investments that we can make through our Alliance grants into research projects like the one that you've developed along with the other members of the team are absolutely essential. And the kinds of partnerships that DPR has been able to build over the years, not just with UC researchers, but with all different types of stakeholders. The California Association of Pest Control Applicators comes to mind when I think of the air blast sprayers. It's really essential to continue the success of our own programs. So we look forward to our continued partnership with you. And on behalf of my colleagues, once again, I congratulate you and the team for the well-deserved award. So moving to our third award, and this next one goes to an organization that I've actually had the privilege of visiting in Monterey County, is Humane Wildlife Control Incorporated. Humane Wildlife Control is receiving an award for its dedication to practicing ecological pest management and not using rodenticides for structural rodent and wildlife management. Instead, the company uses live trapping, one-way exits, and biological control to remove and exclude rodents. According to Rebecca Demetric, who you'll hear from in the video, co-founder of Humane Wildlife Control, Inc., the non-chemical methods used by the company are effective long-term, and they also prevent reinfestation. Through their active efforts to improve upon pest management strategies and share their successes with others, Humane Wildlife Control Incorporated promotes ethical and humane pest management. So let's go to the video.
Humane Wildlife Control is based on the Central Coast of California, with a second office serving portions of Los Angeles and Ventura counties. The corporation's leaders, husband and wife team Rebecca Demetric and Dwayne Titus, are wildlife capture experts with decades of experience rescuing wild animals from perilous situations, which is what led them into the field of pest management.
Each year, I would get dozens of calls from people looking for help with nuisance wildlife. They were reaching out to my organization hoping to find a humane solution. And that's really what inspired us to start our own company. We had the wildlife experience, coupled with my husband's construction background. It really ended up being a perfect fit.
With these environmental stewards at the helm, the company takes a unique approach to resolving human-wildlife conflicts. Their strategies are based on the ecological concepts of integrated pest management, with the addition of strong ethical and animal welfare components, much like biodynamics is to farming and gardening.
When we set out to resolve a pest problem, whether it's a mountain lion or a mouse, we take a holistic approach. We look at the whole property in its entirety as if it's one living organism. This big picture approach helps reveal the underlying cause of a problem. The animals aren't the problem. Their presence is a symptom. For example, when resolving a rat or mouse infestation, we first conduct a thorough inspection of the exterior of a building as well as the surrounding habitat. We're looking for what's attracting the rodents and then what's supporting their presence. The next step involves repairs known as exclusion. We focus on the outermost shell of a building, patching any holes that are a ½ inch and greater. Immediately following these repairs, we set live catch traps to capture any rodents that might have been inside. The rats and mice are quickly released right outside on the property. Now, this may seem counterproductive, but really, it's the only way to know the rodent proofing was sufficient. You see, rats are incredibly smart creatures and quickly find their way back to their entry points. And that's just what we want. It's what our customers want. For these animals to test the work that we've done, to make sure it was done right. If we find any repeat offenders, we'll take another look and possibly use surveillance cameras to find any spots we might have missed. In the end, once a building is rodent-proofed and rodent-free, it should remain that way for years, if not decades.
Humane Wildlife Control's proactive one-and-done approach eliminates the need for poison or any other form of lethal control altogether, and their unique live catch-and-release process reduces the risk of transmission of vector-borne pathogens from otherwise dead rodents. In addition to their rodent-proofing innovations, Humane Wildlife Control recently developed a rodent barrier system for large outdoor areas like vegetable gardens and carports. They have also set new standards for barn owl nest boxes, resulting in more baby owls surviving to adulthood. More owls, more rodent control naturally. Humane Wildlife Control's ecocentric approach is unique in the industry. It is the hope of the company's leaders that their unwavering commitment to ecological pest management strategies and ethical practices, and their success, will inspire other pest management professionals, as well as encourage industry-wide support for EPM.
That's absolutely wonderful, and congratulations to both Rebecca and Dwayne for receiving the award this year. That's fantastic. Joining us to accept the award is Rebecca Demetric, the CEO of Humane Wildlife Control Incorporated. Rebecca, great to see you.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you so much to everybody out there participating and watching, and congratulations to the other winners. Very exciting. We're thrilled to be receiving this recognition on so many levels. Most importantly, we hope that this inspires others in the industry to adopt more sustainable methods, to realize that there's a choice, that we can successfully resolve wild conflicts, including rodent infestations, without using poison. I also hope this inspires a little bit more compassion towards fellow beings, including rats. After all, to borrow from a Jason Mraz song, our name is our virtue, humanity. And I'm sure we can all agree we could use a lot more of that in our world today. So thank you. And also a shout out to our colleagues, the few but growing numbers of service providers that are offering no kill and no poison solutions. This is for you. And finally, thank you to my husband, Dwayne, who's really responsible for bringing our concepts into reality through his skills and brilliance. Thank you again.
Rebecca, thank you very much. And I have a question or two for you that I will save until we've heard from several other folks that are here to help honor you today. Beginning with United States Congressman Jimmy Panetta. Congressman, if you're on, the stage is yours.
Great. I hope you can see me.
Yes, I can. I can see you and hear you.
Great. Thank you very much. And hello, everybody. Once again, I'm Jimmy Panetta, the United States representative for the Central Coast of California. It's a real treat. It's a real honor that I get to speak to you today as we recognize Humane Wildlife Control as one of California's recipients of the Integrated Pest Management Achievement Award. Now, look, I admit, being from California's Central Coast, especially in Monterey County, it makes me real proud to see my constituents get this type of statewide recognition. But also, being a Californian, it makes all of us proud that Humane Wildlife Control not only gets this award, but really gets it when it comes to their extensive work and service to reduce chemical pesticides and replace them with natural strategies. See, when compared to a conventional pest control company, Humane Wildlife Control, and of course their owners, Rebecca and Dwayne, are truly unique in their approach when it comes to the problems that can arise when we share the land with wildlife. And it takes not just a holistic, caring, and sustainable approach, as you've heard, but it also takes something that Rebecca and Dwayne have, that deep knowledge, that deep appreciation, and that profound realization that we're not owners of the land. We need to be caretakers of the land, and not just for us and our families, but for our current ecology and the future of wildlife. That's why Humane Wildlife Control is the deserved recipient of this award, as it operates in a way that is humane for animals and always, always safe for humans. So congratulations to Rebecca and Dwayne and the rest of the Humane Wildlife Control team on this IPM Achievement Award. You not only make us proud, you make it safe for wildlife, and you make all of us better stewards of the land. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congressman, thank you very much for joining us today and for taking the time to honor your constituents and for all the great work that you do for California and the nation in Washington, D.C. Thank you. There are several legislative offices that would also like to recognize Humane Wildlife Control Incorporated today. On behalf of Assemblymember Mark Stone, Alec Manis, his field representative, is joining us live to say a few words on behalf of the Assemblyman. Alec?
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. Unfortunately, Assemblymember Mark Stone had prior commitments and is unavailable to attend today's award ceremony. I'm currently working remotely, but I'm normally in Assemblymember Stone's Monterey office, and was greatly pleased to hear that a business so close to home is being recognized by the Department of Pesticide Regulation as one of the 5 outstanding California organizations. I'm so honored to be a part of today's IPM Achievement Awards. On behalf of Assemblymember Stone, I would like to congratulate Humane Wildlife Control Incorporated, based out of Moss Landing. Humane Wildlife Control's values align directly with Assemblymember Stone and our office, and as they have eloquently stated in their business's statement, that we are simply borrowing the land from nature, and as good tenants, we must return it greater than we found. I'm pleased to announce that Assemblymember Stone has created a certificate of recognition on behalf of the California State Assembly that we will be sending to Humane Wildlife Control Incorporated, as we greatly appreciate the value they bring to our community. Thank you so much.
Alec, thank you, and thank you for representing Assemblymember Stone so ably this afternoon. Finally, on behalf of Humane Wildlife Control, we have a video that Senator Laird has put together, so we can roll that now.
It's my pleasure to honor Monterey County residents, Rebecca and Dwayne of the Humane Wildlife Control, who humanely and ethically and in a way that does not use rodenticides, captures mice to mountain lions They are being honored by the Department of Pesticide Regulation for their area. They both bring distinguished backgrounds to this. Rebecca started doing this in 1981. She did it in conjunction with fish and wildlife permits. She rescued and rehabilitated. She's written a book. She's been a founder of an organization. And Dwayne led a piece of animal rescue in the Deepwater Horizon crisis of a few years ago. So both of them have long histories, and their organization currently is amazing in its leadership. And for that, they are being honored. And it is my pleasure to make sure that on behalf of the state legislature, we recognize this honor and we salute them for this career of work and for their honor tonight by the department. So congratulations. This is an honor that is richly deserved.
Thank you very much to Senator Laird for putting that video together in honor of his constituents, Rebecca and Dwayne. Rebecca, you've got a lot of supporters out there, it's clear, and the work that you're doing is really important for not only Monterey County and the surrounding areas, but really for the entire state. And you addressed this partially, but I was curious how many similar businesses there are to yours that emphasize no-kill and live catch in California. Is this a trend that's really catching on elsewhere in the state?
Yes, thank you. And by the way, thank you guys so much. You got me a little teared up. Really appreciate the recognition. There are about 20 organizations throughout the country that we have in our trade association right now. In California, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number, but there's quite a few. There's in Los Angeles, we have 2 officially, 3, including myself, and then in the Bay Area, quite a few. It's catching on. It's catching on because consumers want it. Most people don't want to kill an animal if they have a choice, and now they have a choice. They just want their problems resolved, and we can do that.
Rebecca, thanks so much. And I'll look forward to being in touch with you and taking another tour somewhere down the road. Our next award goes to Phytophthorous in Native Habitats Work Group from Marin County. All of the other awardees had very easy to pronounce names, and Phytophthorous had me going there for a few minutes. This organization, Phytophthorous in Native Habitats Work Group, is receiving an award for its comprehensive program to manage and minimize the spread of Phytophthora pathogens in restoration sites and in native plant nurseries. Phytophthora pathogens cause many plant diseases, including sudden oak death. These pathogens can be especially devastating to plants in habitat restoration settings, as well as in forested areas. And the work group is a voluntary coalition conducting research to create best management practices for managing Phytophthorous in nursery settings to halt its spread into natural areas. Certainly something that we need to do. Throughout their extensive research and effective outreach efforts, the Phytophthorous in Native Habitats Work Group has made commendable progress in minimizing the spread of Phytophthorous. So without further ado, let's watch the video.
The Phytophthorous in Native Habitats Work Group formed in 2015 to minimize the spread of Phytophthora pathogens in restoration sites and native plant nurseries. The genus Phytophthora, whose name literally means plant destroyer, holds many notorious plant pathogens, including the organisms which led to the Irish potato famine and caused sudden oak death, among other destructive pathogens of agricultural, ornamental, and forest plants. In the past few years, several Phytophthora species have been recovered from particularly ecologically sensitive locations, such as native plant nurseries and restoration areas in California. While the full risks of these pathogens are not fully known, we do know that once they are established, Phytophthora are nearly impossible to control. Prevention of new introductions is critical, especially in these most sensitive, threatened, and endangered species and environments. Our work group is a voluntary coalition of native plant nursery managers, land management agencies, researchers, and nonprofit organizations working toward a collaborative response to prevent pathogen introductions into highly valuable habitats. We do this by developing adaptive, integrative pest management programs and providing technical assistance, outreach, and education. We have produced management guides that detail best management practices to sustain plant health in nurseries and restoration areas, as well as new monitoring techniques and prevention strategies. We share these and other educational resources via our calphytos.org website, as well as through academic papers, workshops and nursery tours, meetings, and science symposia. We also provide technical guidance to California Department of Agriculture, California Native Plant Society, and others, and present management advances at meetings and conferences around the state, country, and internationally. Our most recent project has been the Accreditation to Improve Restoration pilot program that combines our best management practices with structured audits to reduce the risk of pathogens in nursery growing systems and plants slated to be planted in restoration areas. With these efforts, we aim to have a long-lasting impact on the health of California's wildlands by keeping them free of plant pathogens.
That's wonderful work from the Phytophthorous and Native Habitats Work Group. And here to accept the award on their behalf is Janice Alexander. Janice, welcome.
Thank you so very much. On behalf of my fellow co-leaders and the members of the Phytophthorous and Native Habitats Work Group, we're honored and excited to be recognized with this IPM Achievement Award. We extend our thanks to the Department of Pesticide Regulation and to their staff who shepherded us through the process from the beginning of the nomination into the creation of our video. I can truly say we felt energized just to be nominated and really enjoyed getting to share our work with the reviewers and now here with you. The aim of the Phytophthorous and Native Habitats Work Group is to sustain plant and ecosystem health. As we pursue environmental protection, we are continually reminded of the many threats wildlands face in coexisting with current human impacts. From the start, the process and efforts of our work group have been collaborative and inclusive, and I believe that is why they've been successful. We have had impassioned and dedicated people working with us, which can bring its own challenges, but working together and finding common ground among the disagreements generally forged stronger results in the end. And by stronger results, I mean not just scientifically sound IPM recommendations and best management practices for how to grow cleaner nursery plants, but recommendations that were also real world tested and verified by growers and then accepted by restoration managers. This is the advantage of having a work group made up of a range of experts and practitioners. We can access the entirety of the nursery to planting process, aided by experienced scientists and researchers willing to fill in knowledge gaps along the way. Our achievements would not have been possible without the input of many participants at work group events. From several plant pathologists to the nursery growers affiliated with the California Native Nursery Network, to regulators with regional, state, and federal agencies, and leaders from the California Native Plant Society, we have benefited from their engagement, guidance, and expertise. I'd like to specifically mention the wonderful colleagues who first met to work on this problem and eventually became the co-founders and leaders of the work group. They are Diana Benner of the Watershed Nursery, Susan Frankel with the Forest Service Pacific Southwest Research Station, Janelle Hillman with the Santa Clara Valley Water District, and Elisa Shore from the Golden Gate National Parks Conservancy. I'd be remiss to not also thank the University of California Cooperative Extension in Marin County, led by County Director David Lewis. I'd also like to recognize the tremendous support we've received from the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, particularly Mia Angolia, as well as the California Forest Pest Council and the California Oak Mortality Task Force. And a thank you to the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District, represented in our work group by Cindy Rustler until her retirement, and then by Cody Fuentes Winter, who put forth our nomination for this award. Again, thank you for this recognition of our efforts to protect California's sensitive habitats from Phytophthora and other ecologically harmful pests and plant pathogens.
Janice, thank you so much. And also here to congratulate you is Senator Mike Mcguire, who has sent in a video, if we can watch that now.
Hey, how's it going? This is Mike Mcguire, State Senator, and I want to offer a big congrats to the Phytophthorous Native Habitats Work Group for your well-deserved recognition by the Department of Pesticide Regulation. Look, this isn't easy, and you've made Northern California proud. Through your amazing research over the last 5 years, Best management practices have been launched to stop the spread in nurseries, and we're laying the groundwork now. Thanks to you, we're laying the groundwork for larger forest preservation and environmental restoration. Your work, it's more important than ever. So on behalf of the California State Senate, congratulations again on this well-deserved honor.
Thank you very much, Senator Mcguire. And before we go to our last award, Janice, I just had a quick question for you. You know, I tend to think of invasive plants like the star thistle or arundo, and less so about invasive pathogens. What do you do in the nursery setting? Are you working with consumers, or are you working with nursery staff to ensure that they're working to halt the spread of this pathogen?
Yeah, thank you for that question. We are working primarily with the actual staff who grow the plants. So we are trying to help them understand the environments that the nursery uses to grow plants can also be beneficial for allowing pathogens to flourish. So making small but important changes in how they grow those plants can make it so that they are less likely to be infested with pathogens, and then those plants can get planted more safely out into restoration areas.
Thank you very much. And thanks again to you and your colleagues for this really important work. We've got one more award to make, but before we do that, I want to publicly acknowledge and thank everyone who put this year's event together. As you can imagine, it takes a lot of hard work behind the scenes and many months to plan. As soon as this one ends, next year's begins to enter the planning stages, and our scientists and our staff here at DPR think about every detail so that we can best honor the award recipients in a thoughtful and comprehensive way. From vetting potential awardees to designing posters to producing videos and coordinating all of the people that need to be there, it takes a real team, as you can imagine. So let me extend a big thanks to Lisa, Michelle, Courtney, Estella, Sean, and Amy from the IPM branch. Everyone, let's give them a big virtual round of applause. Little jazz hands there. All right, thank you very much, everybody, for that moment. Our final award is a very special one, and it's DPR's first Lifetime IPM Achievement Award. And this year's recipient is Michael Bayesky. Michael is receiving DPR's first Lifetime Achievement Award for his career-long dedication to IPM advocacy and education. Through his landscaping consulting firm, Trees, Bugs, Dirt, based in Contra Costa County, Mr. Bayevsky provides professional IPM consulting with an emphasis on developing site-specific IPM plans for public and private entities. He has held advisory positions in the Bay Area, throughout the Bay Area, I should say, and has helped to develop many IPM publications. Michael has recently worked with San Francisco's Department of the Environment to co-author Pest Prevention by Design Landscapes, which is an interactive IPM model that focuses on designing landscapes to prevent pest invasions. Michael is also an IPM educator, providing hands-on practical training to IPM practitioners throughout California. His influence has been far-reaching throughout his entire career. So let's watch this tribute video.
Michael Bayevsky is the Department of Pesticide Regulation's first Lifetime IPM Achievement Award winner. IPM is a method of pest management that reduces the use of chemical pesticides by using preventative and natural strategies. As a member of IPM committees, educator in professional IPM training programs, and the co-author of public IPM outreach materials, Michael Bayevsky has reached audiences throughout California, advocating for integrated pest management and a wide range of reduced risk pest management strategies.
IPM is not a linear march towards the future. It's a continual reinvention. It's a continual exploration, because you go back out to the field again and you look again and you try not to let your eyes deaden and be able to perceive maybe something is happening here that you don't understand. You gotta dig deeper.
Michael's company, Trees, Bugs, Dirt, provides professional IPM consulting with an emphasis on developing site-specific IPM plans for public and private entities. Since 1997, Michael Bayevsky has been designing and providing hands-on interactive training for landscape personnel. His teaching methods inspire new enthusiasm for IPM, as well as increase understanding in participants.
Michael is physically, mentally, and emotionally unable to provide a training that is not dynamic, interesting, and participatory. He is always known for going to great lengths to bring people in and have hands-on activities when he does trainings. No one else compares with Michael on that front.
The teaching that I do still is really about what the people that do the actual work need to get the job done. And then also, of course, my hidden agenda always is, how can I get them to think and to use, really intelligent biological and scientific thinking when they're trying to solve problems.
Michael has been involved in countless special projects, notably the roadside revegetation IPM study for Contra Costa County Clean Water Program and the Canal Bank Weed Control Alternative Study for the Contra Costa Water District.
He is also very much dedicated to the larger project of IPM, of providing ways to manage the risks from pesticides and from pests in the least disruptive way, in the most healthy way. And that's evidenced by the Pest Prevention by Design project.
Recently, Michael worked with the San Francisco Department of the Environment to co-author Pest Prevention by Design, Landscapes.
It's about how to do better design so that you wouldn't have a pest. So how do you design a rat out of a garden? How do you design a weed out of a garden? What things do you have to do design stage-wise, not maintenance? So it's a different part of IPM. This design manual will be useful for people that actually do design, and that there'll be some things in there that they can pull out and do better design and have fewer pests, because really it can be done.
Michael was contracted to produce a landscape IPM training program for schools, which was incorporated into the first DPR school IPM workshop. For many years, Michael taught this curriculum as the workshop's IPM landscape trainer, where he trained over 2,100 school staff. His contribution helped to shape this program into what it is today. Michael Bayesky's ongoing dedication to IPM implementation through professional, advisory, and teaching endeavors has enriched and will continue to benefit the people and environment of California.
Congratulations to you, Michael. Your ongoing dedication to IPM implementation through professional, advisory, and teaching endeavors has enriched all of us and will continue to benefit the people and the environment of California. And without further ado, here to accept the Lifetime IPM Achievement Award is the man himself, Michael Bayevsky.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Val. And thank all of you who've awarded me this. It's been great. Not too long ago, I was driving down the road with my two sons in the back of the car when they were young, and my project along the roadside was just sitting there, and the kids said, Dad, what do you do? What is this? What is this Bayevsky Associates, IPM? What are you doing? Simply, I'm trying to do a better job. I'm trying to do a better job. I'm trying to reduce pesticide residue in the reservoir, and we're doing experiments to see how it works. Well, that was satisfying a little bit, but then the older son wanted to know, is this what you love? You love going outside and dealing with bugs and pests and all kinds of problems? And do I love what I do? And yes, I do. I love being outdoors. I love working with people, trying to help solve biological problems with biological solutions. It's a challenge. I love it. And more than anything, I love teaching. And I love teaching it and working with people and watching the moment when they learn something. And they've learned it because of their brains and their activities. And then the younger son piped up from the back seat. He's very social. well, who are all your associates? You know, I used to call myself Bayesky and Associates, even though I was pretty much a sole person doing it with associates. And I thought about it, and all the teachers and all the people that I've known over the years, and Nancy Brownfield came to mind. I don't know if anyone ever knew Nancy Brownfield, but she was the East Bay Regional Park District IPM coordinator in the parks. Innovative, indestructible, creative, and a lot of fun. Louis Rude, he was with AAIE. He's one of the first people in the state to do IPM work in cotton, looking at bugs in the field and counting them. And then my partner in crime, Tanya Derlick, who helped me through the Biointegral Resource Center when the Okowskis were doing IPM, and has been with me through thick and thin as a friend and as a colleague and as an IPM inspiration. So I have to thank a lot of people, a lot of collaborators, and you all for providing this opportunity. So thank you very much. I'm honored.
Michael, thank you so much. And it's clear why you're such an engaging evangelist for integrated pest management. I look forward to the day when I can participate in one of your training sessions as well. We have a video from your member of the Assembly, Rebecca Bauer-Cahan, who would also like to share her congratulations with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Cahan and I represent the 16th Assembly District. I am so excited to join the Department of Pesticide Regulation in recognizing Michael Bayesky, owner of Trees, Bugs, Dirt, as the first ever recipient of the Lifetime IPM Achievement Award. Mr. Bayesky, thank you for your years of dedication to IPM advocacy and education. Through your work, you've helped to expand research and knowledge around integrated pest management. You've also helped advise many local entities and have made your mark on this field through projects like your recent partnership, Pest Prevention by Design Landscapes, as well as your IPM publications. You've given back as an instructor at our community colleges, helping to inspire a new generation with courses on arboriculture, soil management, and more. You've served as a member of multiple committees on IPM and tree care locally to help improve practices here in Contra Costa County. I would like to offer my heartfelt congratulations on this well-deserved honor. Thank you, Mr. Bayesky, for your contributions to IPM and for your service to our communities here in Contra Costa County.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Cahan. Michael, I had a couple of quick questions for you. The first is, what do you use the hula hoop that was featured in a couple of those images for?
The hula hoop was a scientific monitoring device.
Looked like it.
It was for teaching participants, the highly scientific method of throwing the hula hoop over your head, and wherever it landed, you go and measure and count how many weeds and how many beneficials.
Okay.
And also, I could always make a joke about hula hoop exercise and all that stuff.
There you go. Yeah. And then the second question is a little bit more serious, I suppose, and it asks, would ask you to think about the progress that IPM has made over the course of the years that you've been involved with integrated pest management practices and techniques. Are you continuing to see in your travels throughout Northern California, maybe elsewhere in our state, greater adoption of IPM practices?
In the urban sector, which is where I ended up working, absolutely. To give one example on weed control, which is the biggest urban pest that most people acknowledge, mulch is now the standard from coast, every corner of California, you have mulch. And when I started in the business, mulch was dirt. It was dirty. It was always raked up and thrown away, and you never put wood chips back in the landscape. So that technique was adopted. And also there's interest in integrated pest management. It really, I've seen a lot of interest, and I've seen it moving into the maintenance field a little bit too. So the one area where it hasn't moved too much was in the design field. So that's why we put this manual together. We wanted to reach out to the designers and help them out.
Well, thanks so much. We're going to be kicking off a sustainable pest management work group in the weeks ahead. And one of the things that we're going to be focusing on with Chris Geiger's help, I think, is urban IPM. And I'm sure that we'll call on you as a subject matter expert, and maybe you can attend one of the work group meetings and share a little bit more about your work with us then.
You got
Michael,
it.
thanks so much. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today at this IPM Achievement Awards ceremony. Thanks to all of the awardees for your hard work and dedication. Integrated pest management is really something that we all need to devote a lot of time and attention to here at the department. You know, we have begun our transition and our accelerated efforts to look for more sustainable ways to manage pests in every environment in California, whether it's the backyard or the back 40 or open spaces or public parks or college campuses. I think you can integrate IPM into just about every one of those environments and do it successfully. So we will look forward to seeing you at next year's IPM Achievement Awards ceremony. Hopefully that one will be in person once we've all been vaccinated and are able to join together in large groups once again. I think that's something we all look forward to. But in the meantime, thanks so much and have a wonderful day.